Plaintiff Donette Baum-Jost says while married to the defendant, she found love letters from his mistress hidden under their bed. Donette says after they divorced, the defendant started dating a 16-year-old and then had a baby with her. And now he has turned their 20-year-old son against Donette. She's suing her ex for breach of contract. Defendant David Reichenberger denies brainwashing his son and says he has ill will towards Donette because when he was a child, she confessed that David may not be his biological father. David says he also has proof that Donette assaulted their son, and he denies owing her for anything.
Tell me what's going on.
The defendant and I have a son together, and our son now is lying, manipulating, and now hates me because of what he's learned from his father.
How old is your son?
He's 20. And for the past 20 years, he's watched his dad manipulate, lie about me, tell stories, tell everybody I'm crazy. And it breaks my heart that he's following in that same path. The defendant and I met when we were 17 and 18 years old on the CB radio. We started dating. We had our son, Sebastian, and then got married.
When?
In 1993, we got married.
Okay.
And during the course of this, I found letters underneath Dave and I's mattress from his long-distance relationship that he was having with another person. I even found the audio tape with their love songs on it. I did return them to him in an envelope, but they were burnt to a crisp.
But they what?
Burnt to a crisp.
Oh.
I was a little upset.
And he said he called you crazy? And he has his love letters from his mistress under the bed at home?
Yes.
Sir, this couldn't be true. You not that sloppy, were you?
Absolutely not. I'm not even exactly sure what she's talking about. But
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
In 1995, I was served with divorce papers. We did go to court. I was awarded physical placement, and we were both awarded joint custody. For the past 20 years, I've been having to deal with him, his girlfriends, and his wife. And in one instance...
Deal with them how?
Well, in one instance, his 16-year-old girlfriend came to my house driving my car, and she wanted him to come home. And at the time...
How do you know it's his girlfriend?
Because it was very known that they were dating.
Okay. Isn't that
And actually, I have a daughter with her.
Yes.
And she wasn't 16.
Yeah, because that's against the law.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
That's a
absolutely right.
crime.
It is against
She
the
was
law.
16 when they started dating, and
And you
she
knew
had
he
their
was
baby
committing
when
this
she was
crime?
17. Pardon
You knew
me?
he was committing this crime against this child and you let it occur?
No.
Oh, you reported it?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
They did nothing.
Who did you report it to?
Social services.
Because she wasn't 16.
Okay, go ahead.
She was 18.
If
When she was 17, she had her baby.
There's a reason.
Go ahead, sir. You give me some background.
Speak of lying and harassing and everything else, that's all fine and dandy because I have a statement from my son that says that she told my son that I wasn't his real father. The guy that she
That is
loved
not true.
before was his
That
real
is
father.
not
I have
true.
a statement by my son that says that is
That is not true.
All right, ma'am, what are the things you say he brainwashed your son to do? You were talking about that earlier. What has he done to cause your son to hate you?
They turn my words around. Every time something happens, they turn it
Just
around
give me
that
one
I've
example
done it.
that caused the hate.
This whole ordeal about saying that his dad wasn't his dad, Sebastian has known that since 2 years ago.
known what?
Possibility.
Known
has
that I'm not his
hold
father?
on, he's known what?
He's known that there was a possibility that Dave was not his father.
But is he the father or not?
Yes, he is.
So how did that come up?
He asked me and I told him.
What would prompt you to...
Well, you
I told him
what?
there was a possibility that he wasn't his father.
Your Honor, there was never a blood test. All I've got is
No, you
basically
signed the statement of
You're right.
paternity.
I did not want a blood test because, as far as I'm concerned, it's 21 years ago.
Let's just get past this. Is there still a possibility that he is not the father of your son?
A biological father, there is a possibility.
Good enough, sir. You probably have a bond with him so much so that you're not interested in
You're right.
taking
Absolutely.
the test.
I have
You
no
are the
desire.
father in
You're
your
right.
opinion, one way or the other. Good. What else has she done to confuse your son?
Well, I also have a police report that he filed when she got in an altercation with him after the whole thing went down with them, and he ended up coming back to live with me, which is the reason that we're here today.
See that? Ma'am, did he have a physical altercation with you?
Well, he hit me while I was holding my baby, and I tried to get my baby away from him.
My mother
pushed him out the
came
house.
at me to hit me in the mouth, and my mother hit me and kept walking.
And I was on
And
the
I
phone
kept
with
saying,
him.
don't hit me. And then she just kept pushing me. And she punched me in the left side of my face. She went to hit me again, and I caught her hand, and she started screaming, don't touch me. And at one point, she said she was going to call the cops. So I grabbed her phone and said, no, I'm calling my dad. And I went to the door to leave. So she ripped the shirt off of me and scratched me, and I was almost outside when she pulled me back in, but my hand was still outside, and she kept slamming my wrist
totally
in the door.
That's why there
And
was
when
no
I
police
tried
reports.
getting it out, she kept punching me in the face.
No, I did not.
So
red
she
marks.
opened the door and she
Scratches.
tried grabbing me again, then I ran.
To
And
clarify,
she yelled that I am going to jail. Why? And so-
to
and you
clarify,
think-
our son
Oh,
is
ma'am,
6'3"
ma'am.
and 300 pounds.
Gotcha. So you think he brainwashed him to say
I
this?
know that's not true at all. None of that
I'm
is
saying,
true.
what made your son write this? He brainwashed
Because
him?
he does everything he can to make sure that his dad likes him.
I wasn't
his
even
dad
there.
is on a
Hold on.
pedestal.
So he wrote this to make his dad like him?
And so that he wouldn't get arrested. Because I told him not to press
Oh, you
charges.
called
'cause
the police.
I'm the one, yes. They called 911 for me across the street.
Oh,
Because he was
okay.
ramming me into the door. I had bruises all over me.
And I went to the door to leave, so she ripped the shirt off of me and scratched me, and I was almost outside when she pulled me back in, but my hand was still outside, and she kept slamming my
is
wrist
totally
in the door.
Defendant David Reichenberger has a 20-year-old son with the plaintiff, who claims David has brainwashed their son, so much so that he even attacked the plaintiff while she was holding her baby.
What contract are you suing him for? Breach of contract.
The contract that we made when he said that it was okay for Sebastian to come back home, I had to eliminate all back child support, which
When was this?
This was in 2008. His
I don't
child
understand
support.
why you had to eliminate the child support.
It was kind of blackmail. I was doing what my son wanted. My son has played the game between us all of his life.
Was
Sebastian got to come home. And that's
To
what
his house?
Sebastian wanted,
No,
to
to her
my
house.
house. But I had to eliminate the child support.
okay?
So that,
Did the son want to come and live with
yes,
you? So you didn't have to cut any deal with him. I
I
don't
didn't
understand.
have to, but in 2007, he took me to court for custody of Sebastian.
Oh, he won
He was
physical
awarded
custody.
physical custody because Sebastian was not succeeding at my house. So he thought maybe he would succeed at his house.
He did. He turned his grades around from straight
For
Fs
one semester
to
and
Cs.
then
Straight
went
Fs,
to-
And
from
during
straight
that-
Fs to what?
He was a straight F student.
No,
when I
that's
took him.
not true.
Ma'am,
That
please
is
let him
Basically,
finish.
when I took him over, we worked with him. My wife and I worked with him, got his grades up. He had a job. He was making his own money. And during that whole period, mind you, he spent very limited time at mom's house. Then summertime came. He went back to mom's house every other week, quit his job, came back to school the next semester, did nothing. Talked to his principals, teachers were all saying, yeah, he's here.
All right.
He's appearing.
Let's get to your contract you're suing him about. You were
Yep.
saying that you waived child
Yes,
support.
I with
see it,
him,
please.
filed the papers for the
And so
child
you
support
did
to
it,
be
you
zeroed
said
out.
because that's the only way you could get him back. Is that true? You required
that-
her to do that?
That's not true. My son but she had
Well,
my
why
son.
did she waive it, sir?
She waived it to get him back, yes. But
Why did she
Exactly.
have to
the
do
fourth
that?
story before that,
Why did she have to do that?
she didn't have to. That was a choice. The thing is it.
Did you ask her to?
It's no. Technically,
Yes.
I did not ask her to.
No, you told
Technically, that
me.
means yeah.
No, no.
Technically.
What
Go ahead,
happened,
ma'am.
Your Honor?
What,
What
sir?
happened was when the back child support that I owed isn't because I didn't pay it. It was because I moved
is
back from
because
Las
you
Vegas
didn't pay.
and I moved back here, and they could only take 55% of my income, and the rest of it went into arrears. So it was a child support that I didn't. I mean, I
It was
owed it
at
technically, but I couldn't afford to go
17%.
back to court to change the court order. So ultimately, I ended up owing more and owing more
It
and
was
owing more. There was nothing I could do
17%
about it.
based on his income. He refused to go to court. That was his fault. I've got the
It was
past 3 years
17%
here.
based on an income of a job that I no longer worked
You
at.
chose to quit there.
I chose to move
You
back
quit
here from Las
all
Vegas to get custody of
Sebastian's
my
life.
son from you.
No,
who was
no, that's
destroying
not
his life
true.
and ended up destroying his
You
life.
have ran from child
Yeah,
support.
run
his
from
whole
child
life.
support. Really?
Here's
How
the
many
past
times
3
have I been to
years.
jail for
Here's
child
the
support?
past 3 years.
How many times I've been to 3 years? He was living with me 3 years ago.
Yes, 2009 to 2006.
He
That's
was living
your
with
last
me
child support.
3 years ago.
This is the last child support orders that we could get.
You should not have waived $14,000.
I know I shouldn't have. It was a big mistake
for you and your son, or for him. That's who it was for.
If I had to do it again, I absolutely would not have done this.
So what are you suing him about? What contract are you suing
him about? The contract for eliminating it, we agreed that he had to pay $2,500 of them arrears, and we put it into a promissory note.
The $2,500.
He agreed to pay $2,500 with his taxes. I have not heard from him about this. We have not talked about it. He has not made any attempt to pay me.
You said the other agreement was that he do better in school.
That was not an agreement. It would have been stipulated.
This boy like he's a slave.
It would have been stipulated if that was an agreement.
Property. Does this young man know that you all have a contract about his life?
Yep.
Not about his life.
It is about his life. This is exactly what this is about.
The contract originally,
Then another agreement to waive $14,000. Does he know that you waived $14,000?
He was
this
right
is his
there.
money. Did you ask him?
He was right
there. I guess
there.
you don't
Yes,
ask
I
slaves.
did.
You
Yes,
just do
I
it.
did ask him.
No, slaves don't get a voice.
He was right there.
Slaves don't get a voice. I promise you, if you ask that young man, do you want your $14,000 that's due to you or not? I promise you, he would have said, yeah, mama, I want my $14,000. Instead, you went and did something to forfeit his money. Now, you're suing for a breach of contract, saying that he promised to give you $2,500 from his tax return for what?
It was for child support.
For the time she was taking.
So he owed you $14,000. You waived that in exchange for $2,500.
For my son to come home.
All right. Let me just inform you guys that a contract regarding property does not include people. You all look upon him clearly as property that can be exchanged for fees. I got news for you. He's a person. He's not property. And as such, you're going to have to go back to child support. That's why
it's done. It's over.
Me?
It's over.
Okay.
Sebastian was there when we made the agreement, and I asked him, and he said yes.
Well, ma'am, if child support is no longer available to you, then you're just out of luck. Have a good day. Case is dismissed.
Why don't you take responsibility for what you've done?
I have taken responsibility.
How did the child support get up to $14,000? How did the child support get up to $14,000?
Fifth grade. You tell him I'm not his dad. What a loser you are.
Loser? I learned it from you.
Yeah, everybody knows who
you know what? This is just beautiful.
Why don't you just go collect your food stamps, get your free house?
Why? You do it too?
Oh, yeah, I do. You're right.
Free house?
I work. I have a job.
Oh, really?
When was the last time you had a job?
Oh, by the way,
photographer. What? Porn don't count, loser.
Oh, excuse me.
Whatever.
Porn?